What you desire does not arrive by chance, it arrives by law, first within, then without. Long before the world shows you evidence, the decision has already been made in consciousness. The moment you accepted a new idea of yourself, a new reality began arranging itself. Events moved, people adjusted, circumstances reshuffled. And what you call waiting is simply the bridge forming beneath your feet. Notice how certain doors closed without your effort. Notice how some paths no longer feel right, even though they once did. That is not failure, that is refinement. Life removes what no longer matches the version of you that is emerging. If everything stayed the same, there would be no space for what you asked for. You may feel stretched right now, pulled between who you were and who you are becoming. That tension is not a sign to quit. It is evidence that change is active. When pressure appears, expansion is already underway. Nothing expands without resistance. Nothing is born without contraction first. Even the moments that feel like setbacks are serving you. They are teaching you where your faith truly rests, not in appearances, but in assumption. When you remain calm while the world looks uncertain, you are declaring mastery. When you persist in belief without proof, proof has no choice but to follow. Do not judge the process by the middle. No story makes sense halfway through. The scene you are in now is not the conclusion. It is the turning point, and turning points are rarely comfortable, but they are always meaningful. What if the delay is protecting you? What if the detour is positioning you? What if the silence is building something so precise that it requires time? The unseen does not rush, it perfects. You are not behind, you are not late, you are not missing anything. You are exactly where the next version of your life can find you. And the fact that you are still here, still believing, still searching, still listening, is proof that the outcome is already secured. So rest in this knowing nothing is against you. Everything is responding to you. Every experience is bending toward your benefit, even when it doesn't look that way yet. Especially when it doesn't look that way yet. Hold your inner position. Assume the end. Walk as though the answer is settled, because it is. And soon, very soon, what you have known quietly within will stand openly before you. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. This is proof that everything is working in your favor. What you are experiencing now is not resistance, it is rearrangement. It feels heavy because things are moving. It feels uncertain because the old structure cannot support the new direction your life is taking. When reality begins to reorganize itself around a higher assumption, there is always a moment where the familiar dissolves before the better becomes visible. This is not a sign that something is wrong. It is evidence that something is changing at a deeper level. You are not being blocked, you are being repositioned. What once fit no longer fits because you have outgrown it. The tension you feel is the space between who you were and who you are becoming. Rearrangement is rarely comfortable because it asks you to release control over appearances while holding firm to inner knowing. The world may look unstable, but the foundation beneath it is being strengthened. When events seem to slow down or fall apart, it is often because life is clearing pathways that would have led you in the wrong direction. Certain plans must dissolve, so better ones can form. Certain expectations must break, so something more aligned can emerge. What appears as delay is often precision at work, ensuring that what arrives does not require compromise or regret. Rearrangement also exposes attachments you didn't realize you had. It brings emotions to the surface, not to overwhelm you, but to free you. Old fears rise so they can be released. Old doubts resurface so they can be replaced. Nothing comes up unless it is ready to leave. The discomfort is not your enemy, it is your signal that transformation is active. You may notice that relationships shift, priorities change, and desires become clearer. This is not loss, it is alignment. People and circumstances that no longer reflect your inner state naturally drift away, making room for those that do. Life is not taking things from you, it is returning you to yourself. Rearrangement requires trust because it does not explain itself in advance. It asks you to move without seeing the full picture. But the picture already exists in potential, waiting for you to remain steady long enough for it to materialize. When you stop fighting the process and begin to cooperate with it, clarity follows. The mind wants immediate proof, but rearrangement works quietly, behind the scenes. It changes the order of things, the timing of meetings, the sequence of events. By the time the result appears, you will realize that every moment of confusion had a purpose. Every disruption was protection. Every redirection was intelligent. You are not being tested to see if you can endure. You are being supported to evolve. W hat is rearranging now is your life adjusting to a stronger self concept. Stay present, stay receptive, stay faithful to what you know internally, not to what temporarily appears outside. In time, what feels unsettled now will make perfect sense, and you will see clearly that nothing was ever working against you. The unseen is already decided, the visible is only catching up. Long before anything appears in form, it is settled in principle. Outcomes are not born in the outer world, they are selected inwardly. What you experience as now is simply the echo of a decision already made at a deeper level. The delay between inner certainty and outer evidence is not denial, it is the natural interval required for expression. Life does not improvise, it unfolds. Every experience follows an inner assumption, whether conscious or unconscious. When you shift what you accept as true within yourself, the world must reorganize to reflect it. But reflection takes time, not because the power is weak, but because the visible world moves through sequence. It must rearrange people, timing, conditions, and circumstances so that what appears feels natural and inevitable. The unseen does not argue, rush, or explain itself. It simply is. Once a state is accepted inwardly, it is done. The outer world cannot cancel it. It can only delay revealing it. What you are waiting for is not permission, luck, or opportunity. You are waiting for the echo to reach the surface. This is why impatience often less painful. The inner knowing is already complete, but the eyes are trained to trust only what they can see. When sight contradicts knowing, tension arises. Yet this tension is not a sign of failure. It is proof that two realities are overlapping, the old visible and the new invisible that is pressing forward. The unseen works with precision. It does not bring fragments or half measures. It brings alignment. That is why things may appear to slow down before they accelerate. Certain conditions must dissolve so the new arrangement can arrive cleanly. If everything showed up instantly, it would not fit. Timing is not delay, it is order. You are not meant to force the visible to comply. You are meant to remain faithful to what is already decided within. The moment you begin to chase evidence, you place your attention back into lack. But when you rest in the assumption that the matter is settled, the visible has no option but to conform. Even contradictions are part of the process. Sometimes the outer world seems to do the opposite of what you expect. This is not reversal, it is reorganization. Old patterns surface one last time before exiting. Circumstances rearrange in ways you cannot yet interpret. But nothing is wasted. Every movement serves the final expression. Trust grows when you understand this principle. The visible never leads, it follows. What you see today is the result of what was believed yesterday, and what you believe now is shaping what you will soon see. Once why who grasp this, anxiety loses its grip. You stop reacting and start allowing. Remain still within. Hold the inner conclusion without negotiation. Let the world catch up in its own way. When it does, it will feel natural, even obvious, like it could not have happened any other way. And in that moment, you will realize that the unseen was never uncertain. Only the timing of its appearance was unfolding. Every delay is alignment. Every obstacle is instruction. Nothing appears in your path without purpose, and nothing lingers without meaning. What you call delay is not life withholding from you, it is life positioning you. Alignment is precise. It requires timing, readiness, and inner agreement. When something does not move forward immediately, it is often because moving too soon would take you out of harmony with what you truly desire. Delays slow you down so awareness can catch up. They give you space to refine intention, to notice what you are assuming, and to release urgency. When you rush, you act from fear of not having. When you wait with trust, you act from certainty. A delay invites you to shift from forcing outcomes to allowing them. It is not an interruption, it is calibration. Obstacles serve a similar role. They are not barriers meant to stop you, they are mirrors meant to teach you. An obstacle reveals where belief wavers, where attachment grips, where identity needs to mature. If the path were always smooth, you would never recognize the limits you have unconsciously accepted. Resistance exposes what is ready to be transcended. Every obstacle asks a question. Who are you being in this moment? Are you reacting or are you choosing? Are you assuming defeat or are you reaffirming your inner position? The lesson is never in the obstacle itself, but in your response to it. When the response changes, the obstacle loses its reason to remain. Alignment also requires the removal of what no longer fits. Some delays exist because certain people, habits, or expectations must fall away first. If what you desire arrived while you were still entangled in the old, it would either be lost or misused. Life protects what is meant for you by preparing you to receive it fully. Instruction is rarely gentle, but it is always intelligent. Obstacles train discernment, they sharpen focus, they teach patience, resilience, and trust in the unseen. Each challenge strengthens your capacity to hold what is coming. You are being trained for consistency, not just for arrival. There is a hidden kindness in this process. What seems inconvenient now may later be recognized as perfect timing. What felt like a setback may later be seen as redirection. Alignment often disguises itself as frustration because the mind wants immediate relief, not long term harmony. When you stop labeling delays as problems, they lose their power to discourage you. When you stop fighting obstacles and begin listening to them, they become guides. The moment you learn what the obstacle is teaching, it dissolves or transforms into a stepping stone. You are not being slowed down. You are being lined up. You are not being challenged. You are being prepared. Nothing is random and nothing is wasted. Every pause, every resistance, every detour is shaping you into someone who can move forward with clarity and confidence. Trust the timing. Respect the lesson. Walk forward knowing that alignment is always working in your favor, even when it asks you to wait, and instruction is always guiding you, even when it arrives in disguise. Your inner assumption is shaping outer events right now, whether you are aware of it or not. Life is responding to what you accept as true about yourself, about others, and about what is possible. The world does not argue with your inner position, it reflects it. Every experience you encounter is an echo of a belief already active within you, quietly directing outcomes, timing, and encounters. An assumption is not just a thought, it is a state of being. It is what you expect without questioning, what you feel to be natural, what you return to when you stop trying to control things. When an assumption settles in, it becomes a lens through which everything is interpreted. Opportunities align with it, obstacles confirm it, people respond according to it. The outer world arranges itself to make your inner stance appear reasonable and justified. This is why effort alone does not create lasting change. You can work hard while assuming struggle and de-struggle will follow you into every achievement. You can plan carefully while assuming disappointment, and outcomes will find ways to fall short. Action matters, but assumption determines direction. The invisible decision precedes the visible result. Right now, in this very moment, something within you is being assumed as true. Perhaps it is confidence, perhaps it is doubt, perhaps it is expectancy, perhaps it is resignation. Whatever it is, life is already responding. Events are lining up to prove that assumption correct, because proof is the function of the outer world. This is not cause for blame, but for empowerment. If your inner assumption is the source, then change does not begin by fixing circumstances. It begins by revising what you accept internally. When you shift what feels normal within you, the external must follow. It has no independence of its own. You do not need to control every thought. You only need to become aware of what you are living from. Notice what you expect when you are not trying. Notice what you quietly prepare for. Those expectations are seeds, and they are already growing into form. Outer events may lag behind your inner shift, but they cannot resist it. Once a new assumption is sustained, the old evidence must fade. People may behave differently without explanation. Situations may resolve in unexpected ways. Paths may open where none existed before. This is not coincidence, it is alignment. Patience is required because assumptions deep end through repetition and feeling. You do not force them, you settle into them. When a new inner position feels natural, the world has no choice but to mirror it. Do not be discouraged by temporary contradictions. They are remnants of former assumptions playing themselves out. Stay loyal to the new inner state, not to outdated appearances. The mirror takes time to adjust, but it always reflects the one who stands before it. Your power is not in reacting, but in assuming wisely. Choose the inner posture that honors who you are becoming. Live from it. Let it feel ordinary. And as you do, watch how the outer world reshapes itself to match the truth you have already accepted within. What feels like pressure is proof of expansion. Pressure appears when something within you is stretching beyond its previous limits. It is not a sign that you are failing or falling behind. It is a signal that growth is underway. Expansion is rarely gentle because it asks you to occupy more space than you once believed you were allowed. The discomfort comes from leaving the familiar, not from moving in the wrong direction. Pressure arises when old boundaries can no longer contain who you are becoming. The habits, beliefs, and identities that once felt sufficient begin to feel tight, restrictive, and uncomfortable. This is not because something has gone wrong, but because something has gone right. You are no longer meant to fit into the same patterns. The tension you feel is the strain of outgrowing them. Every expansion begins with intensity. Just as muscles feel strain before they strengthen, consciousness feels pressure before it broadens. The mind wants relief, not growth, so it labels pressure as danger. But pressure is not an enemy. It is the invitation to step into a larger version of yourself. When life demands more from you, it is because more is already available within you. Responsibility increases when capacity has increased. Challenges appear when readiness has been achieved. You are not being asked to stretch because you are weak. You are being stretched because you are capable. Pressure also exposes where you have been holding back. It reveals where you've been playing small, choosing comfort over truth, safety over expansion. The discomfort pushes you to claim more authority over your inner world. It forces clarity. It demands honesty about what you really want and who you are willing to become. This phase often feels lonely because growth separates you from familiar reference points. Old validations may no longer satisfy. Old reassurances may no longer work. You are learning to trust inner stability rather than external confirmation. That shift can feel heavy, but it is powerful. Pressure is temporary, but expansion is permanent. Once you adjust to the new capacity, what once felt overwhelming becomes natural. You look back and wonder how you ever doubted yourself. The weight you carried becomes strength you rely on. Do not rush to escape the pre. Sure, do not numb it or resist it. Listen to it. Ask what it is asking you to release, to assume, or to step into. Pressure always carries instruction. It tells you where growth is happening and where courage is required. If you were stagnant, there would be no pressure. If you were misaligned, there would be apathy. Pressure only appears when movement is real and change is active. It is proof that life is responding to your inner expansion. Stay present. Breathe through the discomfort. Allow yourself to grow into the space being created. You are not being crushed, you are being expanded. And once the expansion stabilizes, you will realize that what once felt unbearable was simply the feeling of becoming more than you have ever been before. You are not being tested, you are being confirmed. Life is not placing obstacles in your path to measure your worth or to see if you are good enough. That idea belongs to fear, not to truth. What is happening now is confirmation. Confirmation of who you believe yourself to be, confirmation of the inner position you have already accepted, confirmation of the direction you are moving in. When challenges appear, the mind immediately assumes judgment. Will I pass or fail? Will I be approved or rejected? But life does not operate on punishment or reward. It operates on reflection. What you experience is not a test with an unknown outcome. It is a mirror showing you what you already believe, what you already expect, and what you are already living from. Confirmation feels intense because it removes doubt. It brings situations that demand consistency. You are asked to stand in the same inner truth, whether circumstances support it or not. This is not to prove strength to life, but to prove clarity to yourself. Once clarity is established, the outer world aligns quickly. Think about how often you have already endured what you once feared you could not handle. Those moments did not appear to break you, they appeared to reveal you. Each one confirmed resilience, awareness, and capacity that was already present but unrecognized. Life did not test you, it showed you who you were. What feels like a challenge is often simply life saying, is this still what you choose? Not because it doubts you, but because consistency strengthens assumption. When you remain calm in uncertainty, confident in delay, and grounded in change, you are confirming a new identity. The world responds by stabilizing around that identity. Confirmation also removes what is false. Old habits, old fears, and old self-images fall away because they no longer match who you are becoming. This can feel uncomfortable, but it is not loss. It is verification. You are being shown that you no longer need what once defined you. There is relief in understanding this. You stop bracing for failure and start recognizing progress. You stop asking, what if I don't make it? And begin realizing, I already am. The pressure eases because you are no longer trying to earn what has already been established. Life does not need to test what is already known. It only needs to reflect it. When your inner position is stable, circumstances confirm it. When your self-concept strengthens, experiences align with it. The evidence you seek is already forming. Trust what is unfolding, not because it is easy, but because it is accurate. You are not on trial, you are in transition, and everything you are experiencing now is quietly confirming that you are exactly where you need to be, becoming exactly who you decided to be. Everything you have heard today points to one undeniable truth. Nothing in your life is random, wasted, or working against you. What looks like delay is alignment. What feels like pressure is expansion. What seems uncertain is simply the visible world catching up to a decision already made within you. Every experience you are having right now is confirming that a greater version of your life is unfolding, even if it has not fully revealed itself yet. You were never meant to fight the process. You were meant to trust it. The moment you hold your inner position steady, the outer world rearranges to match it. Stay faithful to what you know internally, not to what temporarily appears outside. The evidence is already forming, and soon it will meet you in ways that feel natural, undeniable, and perfectly timed. Remember this: as you move forward, you are not being tested, delayed, or denied.